Thank you for tuning in to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. I am your co-host, Sarah. I am here with Tate, and we have a great show planned for you today. In the first segment, we will be covering last night's game between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then moving on to college sports, talking about the SEC having no interest in Clemson and Florida State, and then also Utah and conference realignment. In segment 4, we'll move away from sports and into our entertainment segments, talking about a gender reveal gone wrong. And then make sure you stick around for segment 5 because it's Friday, which means Florida Man Friday. And we will be discussing more craziness out of Florida. As we get started, I would like to ask you, of course, to like and subscribe to the show. That really does help us out. Also, make sure you click the right buttons because you have not set up your show the way you thought you had set it up. Make sure you click the right buttons. And we do get a lot of comments and questions that come in during the show. So if you'd like to go to GSMCpodcast.net, you can leave a tip or a donation that will ensure that we see your question or comment. It will put it at the top of our list. Then we can engage with that question or comment. Again, the link is at GSMCpodcast.net. Tate, how are you? Good morning.
Hello, Miss Sarah. It looks like you were having some technical difficulties already there, but
I set my screen up so that I know where everything was, but today I don't know, things were moved. I just didn't notice that they were not where I thought they were. So
okay,
it's my own fault.
No, you're totally fine. It's Friday.
I should be. It's not Monday. It's Friday.
I know. That's what we should be at our peak performance right now. I'm a little tired myself.
I think I'm just way tired, and I blame you.
Those morning production meetings can kick your butt.
Yes, I don't know why you're trying to kill me, but I think I need hazard pay.
I gotta get in shape here, you know. So hey,
yeah, I gotta get to your fighting weight.
I'm a long ways from that right now. All
right. Let me just do one real quick thing, and we are going to talk about last night's game, which I know you have thoughts, but let me go ahead and get that set up. Give me just 1 second. So the Dallas Mavericks concluded the Western Conference Finals with a decisive victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves, demonstrating their dominance by building a substantial lead early on. Luka Doncic, eager to compete for his first NBA championship, spearheaded the Mavericks' effort with an astonishing 20 points for the first quarter alone. This performance left the Timberwolves reeling, unable to mount a significant comeback. The Mavericks secured the series in 5 games, marking their first NBA Finals appearance since 2011. Doncic's stellar performance was supported by his co-star, Kyrie Irving, who contributed significantly, particularly in the second quarter. Together, they formed an unstoppable duo that the Timberwolves struggled to contain. The Mavericks' success was also bolstered by key mid-season acquisitions like P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford, along with the impactful play of rookie Derek Lively II. As they prepare to face the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals, the Mavericks have shown remarkable improvement, especially on defense. Their ability to effectively double-team and disrupt the Timberwolves' offensive flow was a critical factor in their series victory. The Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards, despite his best efforts, couldn't overcome the Mavericks' defensive strategies, highlighting the gap between the two teams. Looking ahead, the Mavericks' blend of offensive firepower and defensive resilience positions them well for a competitive series against the Celtics. With Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving leading the charge, Dallas fans have much to look forward to in the quest for an NBA championship. Tate, this morning during our production meeting walk, I kept saying, save it for the show. Save it for the show. And so now, here's your chance. I know you have thoughts.
Okay, first off, call the cops. It was a murder in Minnesota. There was a flat out murder in Minnesota. Okay. This was disappointing to me. This was absolutely disappointing. It was a biblical beatdown. This game was never close. Luka came out, punched him in the mouth, and they were like, okay, we're not gonna fight. It's like a puppy that got attacked and he just rolled over on his belly and just was like, I give up. That's the way I felt about this game. This game was just kind of uneventful for me. And that's no slight for Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks came in and handled business. It's how disappointing I felt like the Timberwolves performed in this game. Very early on, I kind of felt like the Minnesota Timberwolves were like, you know what? We put everything we had in game 4 to make sure we wouldn't get swept. We won a game. We're not going to get swept. Let's just mail it in. And that's kind of the way I felt. That's no slight toward Karl Anthony Towns. That's no slight toward Anthony Edwards. Those brothers, they came to ball. They came to play. It just felt like no one else. It was like a secret that the rest of them that wasn't in on, that they were supposed to show up and try to win. They were on their home court, and I just felt like they just rolled over and didn't put up a fight. Early on, Luka and Kyrie, you could tell, they came to put the Mavericks out of their misery. They came in, they were firing, Luka was firing, and there was no resistance. There was no resistance at all. It was absolutely disappointing. I was really hoping that this could be, especially at home. A lot of people were expecting, okay, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're going to put up a big fight at home, try to force a game 6 in Dallas. And that's when a lot of people thought, okay, Dallas will close them out in Dallas. Not very few people actually looked at this and said, hey, Minnesota's just going to roll over on their home court. And that was the thing that was really disappointing, is that they didn't put up enough of a fight. You know, when you're talking about the MVP and Luka Doncic, Luka deserved the MVP. Luka was lethal this series. They went through and kind of early on established, that their dominance, winning early games. Luka was consistent throughout. Kyrie, great series as well. Only had one off game. Kyrie, if it wasn't for game 4, I think Kyrie would have had a say in who was going to be MVP. But Luka was absolutely consistent all the way through. I don't think anyone would have questioned that Luka doesn't deserve the Western Conference MVP. Now we go on to the finals that we're looking for. And there's some great storylines. You got Kyrie, who was after he left Cleveland, he went to Boston. He was loved in Boston. They wanted to re-sign him. He was to be part of their long-term future, and he decided to leave, which kind of really hurt them and the fans. So that kind of a situation is going on there. That's going to be the big storyline right there. When I look at this and I say, who's the better team? It's gonna be Brown and Tatum versus Luka and Kyrie. The Mavs defense versus the Celtics offense, vice versa. These are two teams that are very evenly matched up, and I was thinking about this even when the series was over, because I kind of, once the Celtics series was over, I kind of knew Dallas was going to win this whole thing as far as the Western Conference. So right away, you start thinking about, okay, how are they going to match up? Who's going to win this? And a lot of people are going to look at it and say the Celtics. This is going to be the Celtics year. I don't. I think these are two very evenly matched up teams. I know people look at it and say the Celtics have been an all-time great team when you're talking about win percentages and things. But Dallas was in that West, and the West was a meat grinder. There, from top to bottom, the West, everybody in the West was good enough to be a champion. That's how good they were. When we're talking about the playoff contenders, all the way to the Lakers. So when I started looking at this, who's gonna win? Initially, on the surface, you initially think about the Celtics, but when I look at the way Kyrie has been playing with Luka, if Kyrie and Luka can get together and consistently put together games when they're both there, they have a major say. I don't think this won't be a quick series. This is a 6 or 7 game series. I don't think you will see no chance of a sweep on this one. These are two very evenly matched up teams. So I am super excited about this. I got to do some marinating before I determine who I'm going to pick in this one.
You've got some time to marinate.
Yes. So, but there's a little bit of me that's leaning toward the Dallas Mavericks. But I haven't made that decision yet. I really want to break down the series and then figure out who I'm going to take, and then I'll bring it to you guys once we're there. Let's talk about Minnesota. Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards. This was a great year for them. Yes, they didn't finish the way I would like to have seen them finish out, but they made it a long way. This was their first year in the Western Conference Finals, and it felt like the moment was just a little too big. Once they got past Denver and got to the Western Conference Finals, it felt like the pressure was a lot for them. It won't be that way next year. They're a young team who's only going to get better. I would not be surprised if they're right back in this situation next year and maybe moving on further. So, they're not done. And also, Anthony Edwards is a bona fide superstar now. He was on the biggest stage, performed at a very high level, and I think I'm expecting big things from him next year. But now we're on to the finals. The NBA has a big problem, though, where the finals aren't going to start till June 6th. We are still in May. So it's a week before we get this. That's the only problem that I have with this whole situation is I feel like the momentum is kind of going to fade away. I wish these games were happening on Monday instead of on the 6th. That's my only big problem.
It's going to be a while before we even talk about it again because it's a Friday and we will have a show on the following Monday.
Yeah, so we're going to do some previews and things.
Of course.
So we'll be breaking this down to make sure everyone stays on top of it. Besides, I got to give you my prediction on who's going to win. And I really don't know because I think they're that evenly matched up that I'm looking forward to seeing, trying to figure out who it is and then giving you guys my prediction.
All right, we'll look forward to that. We're going to take our first break of this episode when we come back. Moving on to college football and conference realignment and all of those things that keep getting more and more complicated. You are tuned in to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. In segment 1, we talked about last night's game between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves and the ending of that series. As we get into segment 2, I do want to remind you that we do get questions and comments throughout the show. We would love to engage with those questions and comments. If you go to GSMCPodcast.net, you can leave a tip or a donation that will ensure that your question gets put at the top of our list, making sure that we see it, and we would love to engage with those comments. Again, that is GSMCPodcast.net. And now we move into segment 2. The SEC spring meetings have provided a treasure trove of insights and updates, but one of the most striking revelations comes from the college football insider Brent McMurphy. During an appearance on the Paul Feinbaum show, McMurphy made it clear that the SEC has no interest in expanding to include Clemson or Florida State. This declaration puts to rest a wave of speculation that has been building in the college football community. McMurphy's comments were not isolated. He emphasized that despite the prestige and competitive edge that both Clemson and Florida State would bring to the SEC, the conference is content with its current membership and does not see the need for further expansion. This stance is particularly noteworthy given the ongoing shifts and realignments in other conferences, most notably the Big Ten and Big 12. The future of Clemson and Florida State has been a hot topic, especially with the growing dissatisfaction within the ACC. According to McMurphy, both universities are likely to leave the ACC, potentially sparking significant legal and financial ramifications. Reports suggest that these institutions are exploring every possible avenue to exit the conference, driven by a desire for greater financial stability and competitive opportunities. The potential departure of Clemson and Florida State from the ACC is fraught with legal challenges. Both schools would face hefty exit fees and possible litigation from the ACC, which aims to enforce its grant of rights agreement. This agreement ties media rights to the conference, making a clean break not only complex, but also costly. The legal battles that could ensue might set precedents for future conference realignments, impacting how contracts and agreements are structured and enforced in collegiate sports. Schools considering similar moves will be watching closely to see how Clemson and Florida State navigate these turbulent waters. The possible departure of Clemson and Florida State from the ACC signals a broader trend in college football where financial considerations increasingly drive conference affiliations. Schools are seeking stability and growth in media revenue, which significantly influences their ability to attract top talent and maintain competitive programs. For the ACC, losing 2 of its most storied and successful programs would be a severe blow, potentially diminishing its stature and appeal. This scenario could trigger a domino effect, prompting other schools to reconsider their positions within the conference. The SEC's decision to refrain from pursuing Clemson and Florida State highlights its confidence in the current structure and competitiveness of the conference. The addition of Oklahoma and Texas, set for 2024, already represents a substantial expansion that will enhance the conference's strength and marketability. By maintaining its current lineup, the SEC avoids the complexities and potential disruptions associated with further expansion. This stability allows the conference to focus on integrating its new members and maximizing its existing media deals, which are among the most lucrative in college sports. So, Tate, what are your thoughts? What do you think are the main reasons behind the SEC's decision here with Clemson and Florida State?
Well, it's not necessarily a decision. It's kind of what Brent McMurphy, which is a very credible source. I mean, and that's that, there's a lot of speculation things that are thrown around, but Brent McMurphy is one of the, top sources to get information about the SEC. This doesn't surprise me at all. Did anyone think Florida wanted Florida State in the SEC? Because the answer is no. Did anyone think South Carolina wanted Clemson in the SEC? The answer is no. So that didn't surprise me at all. Right now, the SEC is in a really good place, and they're not looking to add anyone else. They've added Texas, they've added Oklahoma. I have always thought the SEC has never been looking at expanding north, but expanding more south. If you told me the SEC wanted to look at bringing on an Oklahoma State or Baylor or Texas Tech or TCU, I think that makes more sense to me. But going in and bringing in Florida State when they already have Florida, bringing in a Clemson when they already have South Carolina, that didn't sound like what they really wanted. And Brickman Murphy said he still thinks confidently these two schools are leaving, but they're going to end up in the Big Ten. Now, with that being said, I think the SEC is being short-sighted. I think this would be a catastrophic mistake by the SEC. Very short-sighted. And here's the reason why. The Big Ten is becoming a coast-to-coast conference. It is a coast-to-coast conference already. And if you look around, and they're going to roll over and let the Big Ten get into the state of Florida, because if they take Florida State, don't be surprised if they don't take Miami as well. If they take Clemson, don't be surprised if they don't try to get North Carolina as well. But the big thing is, you do not want the Big Ten to get a footprint in the SEC or in the South, the Southeast. The Big Ten is everywhere. They have the East Coast covered. They have the Midwest covered. You know, they have even the mountain area covered. And now they have the West Coast covered with Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA. The one area they don't touch is the Southeast. And the king of the Southeast is, of course, Texas and Florida. You do not want the Big Ten to get a foothold in Florida. And that's why I look at it as short-sighted. Because if the Big Ten takes Florida State and Miami, I could see that long term the SEC regretting that move. Not to mention if somehow they decided to take a Florida State, Miami, Georgia Tech in the city of Atlanta and Clemson, they would instantly have a major footprint in the Southeast, and it would long term start to become a problem for the SEC. So that's the reason why it didn't surprise me, because I knew South Carolina and Florida does not want them in. But if you start thinking about it long term, it's a bad move. It's short-sighted. The one thing the SEC owns and controls is that Southeast, and they have a chokehold on it. But don't think the Big Ten hasn't been eyeing the Southeast. Don't think that the Big Ten, if they can come in with and bring in 2 or 3 or 4 marquee brands out of the Southeast, they won't do it. If you look around and they already have Ohio State, they have Michigan, they have Penn State, they have USC, they have Washington, they have Oregon, they have UCLA, they have Nebraska. Now, if you mess around and you let the Big Ten take Florida State and Miami and Clemson, maybe North Carolina and maybe Georgia Tech, then it becomes it's instead of it being SEC and the Big Ten controlling things, I could easily see a scenario where the Big Ten just controls it all. This is short-sighted. I know things right now, but we're talking about down the road. It's something you have to be prepared for. But like I said, it didn't surprise me at all.
All right. So no surprises in there whatsoever. No,
I think it's a lot of surprises to others. Just it didn't surprise me. It's something that I have known and I've said for a long time. I know Florida does not want Miami or Florida State in the SEC because it's a great situation. They're the only SEC team in Florida. Okay, South Carolina. South Carolina is the only SEC team in South Carolina. Clemson is a bigger brand than South Carolina is. Why would South Carolina want Clemson to come in and take some of their shine? No. When you start thinking about the way schools act or start to way they move, they think about themselves first, and it's short-sighted. The NCAA has always been very short-sighted, and this is a short-sighted move, in my opinion, to make sure for long-term stability, I would be open for Florida State and a Clemson and a North Carolina and Duke as well. So if I was the SEC, but the SEC doesn't seem like the SEC is thinking that way. We still have to deal with the issue of, are they going to be able to break their granted rights? Will there be a settlement? Will the judges just settle and just make a decision on favor of Florida State? There is talk about the exit fee not being fair and how that could end up breaking the whole granted rights as well. So everyone is starting to think Clemson, Florida State, maybe even North Carolina are going to get out. And then what does that mean? So we will see.
We will see. Things will continue to shift, and we will continue talking about them. We're going to take our next break. When we come back, we'll be talking some more about Utah and that possible move to the ACC. You are tuned into the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. In the last segment, we were talking about the SEC possibly being short-sighted in not wanting Clemson or Florida State. In segment 1, we covered the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Moving it now into segment 3. In the ever-evolving landscape of college football, conference realignment continues to be a major storyline. One of the latest developments involves the University of Utah, which is rumored to be exploring a potential shift to the ACC. The speculation comes on the heels of Utah's notable decision to not sign the Big 12's unprecedented 99-year contract, setting the stage for a possible major realignment. Utah's refusal to sign the Big 12's lengthy contract is a significant move, indicating that the university may be keeping its options open for future opportunities. The decision places Utah in a unique and potentially advantageous position as conferences jockey for stronger memberships and media deals. The Big 12's 99-year agreement is a bold commitment aimed at ensuring long-term stability, but Utah's hesitation suggests a strategic approach to their athletic program's future. The ACC, which has been grappling with its own set of challenges and potential departures, could find a valuable ally in Utah. Adding Utah to the ACC would bring not only a competitive football program, but also a strong academic institution. The geographic expansion into the Mountain Time Zone would provide the ACC with a broader national footprint, enhancing its marketability and television ratings. From Utah's perspective, joining the ACC could offer several benefits. The ACC's current media deals, though less lucrative than the SEC's or Big Ten's, still provide substantial revenue. Moreover, the stability and prestige of the ACC might appeal to Utah as it seeks to bolster its athletic program's profile and competitiveness. Utah's potential move to the ACC could have far-reaching implications. For the ACC, this addition would mitigate the potential loss of high-profile programs like Clemson or Florida State, who have been rumored to be eyeing exits from the conference. Securing a strong program like Utah would help reinforce the ACC's position as a premier athletic conference. For the Big 12, losing Utah could be a setback, particularly after the recent additions of programs like BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF, which were aimed at stabilizing and enhancing the conference's competitive landscape. Utah's departure would necessitate another round of strategic planning and potential expansion for the Big 12. The financial and logistical aspects of such a move cannot be overlooked. Conference realignment often involves complex negotiations around media rights, revenue sharing, and logistical arrangements for teams and fans. Utah's transition to the ACC would require careful consideration of travel schedules and the integration of their athletic programs into a new conference environment. However, the potential financial rewards and increased national exposure could outweigh these challenges. For Utah, the move could enhance its recruiting capabilities and provide greater visibility on a national stage, crucial for building and sustaining a top-tier athletic program. It is clear that college football is in a period of significant transformation. The shifting allegiances and strategic moves by universities reflect broader trends in collegiate athletics, driven by financial incentives and the pursuit of competitive excellence. Utah's potential move to the ACC is a story to watch closely. It exemplifies the dynamic nature of college sports, where institutions must constantly evaluate their positions and make strategic decisions that align with their long-term goals. And that's that one sentence, Tate. It is clear that college football is in a period of significant transformation. I think it's an understatement.
Just a smidgen.
Statement. What do you have to say about all of this?
Okay. Now, there's a few sides to this story. First off, there's speculation that Utah wants out of the Big 12 before they ever got in. They're not in the Big 12 until this year. Now, but does it surprise me? No. Utah did not want to leave the SEC. The Pac-12. And they didn't want to go to the Big 12. But once Colorado left, and then Arizona and Arizona State left, they were kind of given no choice. The one unique thing was when Colorado and Arizona State, they all had to sign that 99-year agreement. Utah, that was part of their condition. They weren't going to sign that 99-year agreement. That means they're able to become a free agent and move a lot sooner, where other ones will not be able to move. And does it surprise me that they're looking at the ACC? Well, where they really want to be at is in the Big Ten. And Utah cares about, they want to be a major sports program, and they are. But they're also a major academic program. And the best place to be for academics and research is the Big Ten. Nowadays, with the Pac-12 gone, the second best place to go for academic and research is the ACC. And that's the reason why the Big 12 is kind of concerned. Will Utah try to jump ship and go to the ACC? It means a little bit more money, which is right now incredibly important. On the other side, for the ACC, it's a no-brainer. At some point, you're going to lose Florida State and Clemson, maybe even North Carolina, maybe Duke. You're going to lose some major players. Utah could slide in there and bring on, they've already brought in Cal and Stanford and SMU, but being able to bring on a Utah is a big fish. Make no mistake about it. a powerhouse football program that would instantly still keep the ACC very credible in the football world as far as contending for national championships, but also it expands the ACC's footprint. Now, taking their footprint out, making it broader, helps Utah build out their notoriety by being stronger and being featured more on the East Coast. This is a perfect fit. I've always thought this would be a perfect fit because I knew Utah didn't really, from everything I had been reading, Utah was a reluctant partner in the Big 12. I would love to see, with everything going on, I would love to see Oregon State, Washington State, and Utah end up eventually in the ACC. I think that would kind of stabilize the ACC because right now the ACC is super unstable. And I made the joke of one man's treasure as another man's trash, meaning Florida State and Clemson are looking at the ACC as, man, we want out of here. This place has gone to the dogs. We're out of here. And Utah's like, man, this is nice. Why don't we go by here? Why don't we move to this neighborhood? So that's kind of the world that we live in. They're not, the Florida States and the Clemsons are busy looking at the SEC and the Big Ten and wanting what they have. And Utah is looking at ACC like, man, this is nice. This is where we want to be. We really don't want to be in the Big 12. This is something that is kind of a small story right now, but I could see this becoming a bigger story than what it is. So it's going to be very interesting to see. College football has been going in a lot of ways, and this is kind of the ramification from the collapse of the Pac-12, also the potential collapse of the ACC, what's going on there. These are all kind of moves where everyone is kind of jockeying to see if this happens, then we're making this kind of a move. It benefits the ACC to try to get Utah. If I'm the Big 12, that's a domino I do not want to see happen.
You have mentioned a couple of times one man's trash is another man's treasure. Do you think it's also maybe a case of the grass always seeming greener on the side of the fence, or?
No, I don't. I really look at it as the Big 12. Utah isn't a fit in the Big 12. Utah is a major academic institution that's why they had no interest in leaving the Pac-12. The academics, the research, that is what Utah coveted more than anything. They're a, make no mistake, they are a major football program. And if you're on the East Coast, you may not realize, but Utah is a national championship contending school. But they covet the academics and the research even more. The ACC is a better research fit for them. The Big Ten is the ultimate research fit for them. And the Big 12 is not that kind of the Big 12 doesn't kind of covet the big time research dollars that the Big Ten and the ACC or the old Pac-12 brought in.
And that's another thing. It's much more complicated than just college athletics. There's
way more than
moving
that.
Pieces.
Yes, absolutely. Also, if you're looking at this new world of college football where name, image, and likeness is a part of the college football world, and you're sitting in Utah, that is not, that's not, Fifth Avenue. Being able to be in an East Coast conference playing, the likes of the North Carolinas, the Dukes, the Clemsons, playing Boston College and Pittsburgh and things like that, those major East Coast schools, give them a lot of visibility where they're on East Coast time zones playing in major East Coast teams. It's a much better fit.
All right. Well, as I said with the last segment, this is going to continue to evolve. We're going to continue to talk about it. So no shortage of topics there. We're going to take our next break. When we come back, a gender reveal gone wrong. You're tuned in to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. We have been talking football, college football, realignment, conference realignment. In the first segment, we covered the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. In the second segment, we talked about the SEC not wanting Clemson or Florida State. And then in this last segment, segment 3, we talked about Utah potentially going to the ACC. Now we are moving, as I said, into our non-sports, into our entertainment segments. And Tate, have you ever been to a gender reveal party?
I have not. I've only seen them on social media, and sometimes they do not quite actually work the way they're supposed to.
Keep going viral, and not for good reasons usually, right? I mean, I think there's been recent cases where people have died because of gender reveal parties.
Crap, no, I didn't know about
There was
that.
case a couple years ago where the gender reveal started one of the major wildfires in California.
I remember that as well.
Huge fines. This one isn't quite so dramatic because I didn't think death seemed terribly entertaining. But, I guess it can be. But there was a moment for a Houston-based woman, Veronica Fernandez, when she got shot by a dart at her sister's gender reveal party.
Yeah, she got taken down like a Cape Buffalo.
Not quite, but
No pun intended. I haven't seen this woman, so I'm not trying to throw no shade at her now.
Veronica said, after convincing my sister and brother-in-law to let me and my family throw them a gender reveal, my brother-in-law agreed if it involved something cool. So we decided on real darts and a huge balloon. His idea, not mine, she said. Long story short, it's reveal time, so of course I want the best view of my sister's reaction and stand directly across. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect the dart to go straight through the balloon and into my foot. I look down because I feel a pinch, and there it is, a big dart sticking out of my foot. Maybe it was the adrenaline, but I had no clue until I looked down. That's when the panic sank in, and I am not a needle person. As it was, so when I saw that, I immediately began to panic, thinking about nerve damage, or I'm going to bleed out. Thank you, Grey's Anatomy. I refused to let anyone touch it, so somebody called 911, but the fire department says they can't remove it, so they send me to the ER. Luckily, everything was okay, and all I needed was a tetanus shot. Kids, don't do this at home, or better yet, don't do it at all. Never want to see another dart in my life, she said. And this, of course, this is an older gender reveal story, but it did go viral, and we keep getting viral gender reveals, not usually for good reasons. It went viral on TikTok, where it had over 4.5 million views.
Okay. First off, she's kind of lucky it went into her foot.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be different if it hit her in the neck. She really would have went down like a Cape Buffalo.
The eye.
Well, yeah, it's all fun and games, so now I get poked out. You know what I mean?
That's what they say.
Okay. Yeah, these gender reveals are getting out of hand. You know, it's just crazy some of the things that people are doing. People are getting sued because they're they're doing a gender reveal party. I remember seeing one, and it was supposed to have been a girl. They got the wrong stuff. It ended up being a boy. Just all kind of things like that. These gender reveal parties. Just how about this? We're just gonna keep that between us. We're just gonna look at the envelope. Thank you, Doc, for sending this over. Hey, look, we got a boy. All right, send y'all's gifts. We don't need a party. Now, I do understand why you do that gender reveal, because it does get you another layer of gift. You got a bridal shower gift. You got a gender reveal gift. You know, there's all kind of little gifts that you can get in these little things. So I understand about monetizing the situation and respect that. But y'all gotta chill on these gender reveals. People are going to the great beyond because of these gender reveals.
You keep seeing them where they go viral because one parent or the other has an absolute meltdown over the revealed gender. I mean, if you are not prepared for the result, maybe don't have all your closest friends and family film it. Because you'll go on social media.
Here's the thing I don't understand are when you hear about these gender reveals and it's like, man, I want a boy. And it becomes a girl. And the guy is like upset. Or the woman is upset. It's like, don't you realize your kid may watch this video? It's on social media. Now your kid's like, Daddy didn't want me. You know what I mean? Life already starts out with problems.
I'm old enough to remember when, you found out when the kid was born, right? And I remember when people started being able to find out earlier what they were having.
Right.
And I had a friend who said, she was just joking, but she said, if God wanted me to know what I was having, God would have put a window in my stomach.
Be careful what you wish for, because that's coming next Christmas.
That was pre-3D ultrasounds where you get that little squash baby.
Yes. Now, here's the thing, and I've heard about this too. Part of the reason why people want to know, because they're starting to prepare, they're building nurseries and all this stuff, and nurseries can get kind of elaborate and expensive. So now you over here, you're doing everything in pink and all these pretty colors, thinking you're gonna have a little girl, and then you find out, oops, they messed up. That has happened as well. And you think you got everything prepared for a girl, now you got a boy, or vice versa. People get upset about that one. People get upset about their wedding and their their bridal showers and gender reveals. Though that's when Bridezilla meet Mamazilla. Those are the two times where people lose their darn mind. And so there's been too many of these. What's some of the crazy ones you've seen?
Well, the wildfire I think is horrible, but planes crashing.
Wait. Nothing like burning down a few thousand acres to show. Yeah. This is how dedicated I am to my kid. I'm gonna burn down a few thousand acres and a few hundred homes.
I saw multiple stories of planes crashing. I think I saw at least 3 planes crashing in the process.
Oh, really?
Gender reveal. Yeah. So
baby got stuck in the engine or something. What went down?
One, it must have been like a water tanker. Speaking of wildfires, when they scoop up the water so they dropped the colored water, and then there was some sort of shift in the weight of the plane, and I don't know if the pilot wasn't prepared for that, but that crash, nobody was injured, thankfully.
Okay.
But people have died, and I did see, so the supposed inventor or creator of the gender reveal, they actually pinpoint it to a person.
Oh.
Her name is Jenna Karvounidis, and I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name.
I hope Jenna getting some CSC off of that.
Well,
if y'all don't know what that means cash, sweet cash. Just for the record.
Probably not, but all of these trends and everything going viral and things getting crazy prompted her to come forward and condemn gender reveal parties. She said she's the so-called, like I said, inventor of these gender reveal parties, and she's pleaded with parents to stop attempting such dangerous stunts. For the love of God, she said, stop burning things down to tell everyone about your kid's penis. No one cares but you, the parenting blogger wrote last year. Excuse me for having a cake for my family in 2008, she continued. Just because I'm the gender reveal inventor doesn't mean I think people should burn down their communities. Stop.
No.
She's probably feeling like...
No, I'm not on her side on that one. She needs to set up and sit in the corner somewhere.
But I did see a couple of multiple explosions. I just wanted to throw that out for you too.
And let me explain why she needs to shut up and sit in the corner. She started something kind of cool. It's taken off globally. And yes, there are some things that go wrong in some of these gender reveals, but there's a lot of good that happens. So focus on the good and stay off the bad. That's kind of like Henry Ford coming out and being like, these cars are killing people. I'm sad I invented this. Why don't we stop doing cars? No, you're not going to do it. You hope for safer practices, but the car's out of the garage now. No, you don't take it away. Gender reveals are a good thing. They can be fun for the family. The mom gets a little extra attention. The grandparents gets a little bit of love and a little bit of excitement. It's spreading a little happiness to everyone. Just don't kill anybody while doing it.
I think it's the wanting to, keeping up with the Joneses or being more impressive than your sister, cousin, best friend's gender reveal. You have to go bigger, bigger, bigger. And then you end up burning down half of California, or something explodes or what have you.
Yeah, Bobby jumped through a hula hoop with blue smoke. So I'm going to have a plane fly through a hula hoop with flames. That whole one-upsmanship, that's what's causing the problem. It is not gender reveals. It is idiot people doing that. That's the problem. You have to know who's doing those gender reveals. If you are not a smart individual, don't put him in charge. Don't put her in charge. Find somebody responsible to run your gender reveal and people won't get hurt. That's all I'm saying.
Back to our original story with the dart. You know what all I could picture in this situation were lawn darts from when we were kids.
I'm telling you, that's what I was thinking, the same thing.
I'm not picturing like a dartboard dart. I was picturing a lawn dart.
No, see, I like the first thing I thought it was like a syringe, like
sure.
like that, and then I was like, oh no, they got those lawn darts. For y'all that don't even know, y'all didn't grow up during our time.
Feral time of the 80s.
We had these things called lawn darts. They were like javelins that threw through the air, and people got taken out tons of times. I used to love those things.
They eventually got banned. You were supposed to throw them into like a hula hoop sort of looking.
Yeah, no, we had a.
No, I'm just double checking because I'm younger than you. So
no, we had those suckers. You listen.
My brother had them.
You could kill a neighbor and not get in any trouble. It was like, hey, sorry, we were playing lawn darts. Cops like, oh, we understand. Let's just pick the body up and let's roll out.
It's amazing any of us survived the 80s. Let me just say.
I played many mean games of lawn dart. Lawn dart was replaced with cornhole. That's what happened. Cornhole is a safer version of lawn darts. That's all it is.
A lot lower stakes. Let me just say. All right, on that note, we're going to take our final break of this episode. When we come back, it's Florida Man Friday. Are you prepared? You are tuned in to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. Before the break, we were talking about a gender reveal gone wrong. Thankfully, not terribly wrong. I have a transitional story into Florida Man Friday. So transitioning, segueing, if you will, from gender reveal to Florida Man, because I did find one story where a Florida couple used their pet alligator for their gender reveal. Nothing went wrong. This went fine, but it was they're a blended family. This was their 10th child, and they used their pet alligator, whose name is Amos, for the alligator chomped down on the balloon, and pink came out. So
you could easily. That's another way to lose a couple of kids.
Yeah, we were going to be a family of 12, but
yeah,
so
ate a couple of them.
So, Florida Man, pet alligator seemed like a good transition to Florida Man.
And I'm not condoning alligators eating your kids, okay? Just making sure we don't want any write-in campaigns, and I'm thinking about trying to get alligators to eat kids. Just want that to be known.
Just the balloon, just the chomping down on the black balloon to reveal the pink that was in there.
All right.
Anyway, Florida Man, I recently discovered that there is a Florida Man birthday generator. So you can type in your birthday and find out the crazy Florida man or woman stories that happened on your birthday. So Tate, we're going with your birthday today.
Oh,
I
snap.
typed it in.
Okay.
This story is from 2020.
Florida Man story generator. That's
Florida
weird.
Man story. What happened in Florida on your birthday? So a Florida man committed several crimes and brought a child with him while doing so. The incident took place in Polk County, Florida. The Florida man committed several different crimes, and while committing them, he brought a child with him. After the man was caught, he said he didn't want the boy to be, quote, soft, and brought him with to be a, quote, tough man. The Polk County Sheriff's Office caught a Florida man who committed several different crimes. When they were investigated, it was noticed that he had always brought an 8-year-old boy with him. While committing those crimes, the sheriff's office said Ernest McKnight III, 36, committed his first crime on November 7th. Sheriff's deputies said the crime on November 7th was car theft. McKnight stole a red Hyundai parked in Lake Wakes, and then McKnight took advantage of the car owner's momentary distraction to commit the theft. The owner of the car was inspecting construction at the time. Then McKnight committed the second crime. He was scouring a Chevrolet HHR near Country Road 653. The owner of the car was walking his dog at the time. The man noticed McKnight and then tried to catch him. However, McKnight fled the scene in the red Hyundai he had stolen earlier, so that came in handy. About 5 hours after his second crime, McKnight committed his third crime. He tried to steal something from the front porch of a house. The landlord told McKnight to return what he had stolen, but McKnight paid little attention. Instead, he shouted, "They're mine now!" and got into the stolen car and drove away from the area. Sheriff's deputies caught McKnight on the same day. In Lake Wales, the police wanted to stop him for a routine traffic stop. McKnight did not comply with this decision and began to run away. He managed to escape from the police who were following him. However, he could not escape from them from the police helicopter that followed him in the air. A detective asked McKnight why he had an 8-year-old boy with him when he committed the crimes, and again, McKnight said he didn't want the boy to be a soft person, and he brought him along to turn him into a stronger person. Sheriff's deputies took the 8-year-old boy to his family. No relationship of the child or family to McKnight has been identified. So not sure who this kid is, or just some random kid that McKnight picked up to turn him into a tougher person. So he has been charged, of course, and the child has been returned. But there you go. Your birthday, Florida man, crimes free with a kid.
I understand.
You understand? You're gonna.
All right. I got questions here for you.
For me.
Miss Sarah.
Yes.
Let's say a guy, he works at Microsoft.
Okay.
Or let's say he works at Tesla.
Okay.
And he takes his little cyber truck to the Tesla job. He's an engineer at Tesla, and he takes little Jimmy with him to Tesla, and it's take your kid to work day. Why is that okay? But he can't take his kid to work day.
This wasn't his kid. He just took a kid to work day.
Whoa. That 8-year-old wasn't related to him?
No relationship of the child or family to McKnight has been identified.
Oh, hell no. I didn't know. Okay.
We don't know.
Wait a minute. I didn't know that. Okay. That's a whole different. That's Florida man primo now. I did not realize.
It doesn't say that it doesn't indicate that he kidnapped this child to bring him along.
Oh, hell.
He knew the kid, maybe a neighbor, maybe it's a nephew. We don't know, but no relationship has been identified. It's not his son. It's not something.
Oh, see, wait a minute. Okay. You know what, America? It's on. This one's on me. My brother wasn't paying attention. I thought my man was just taking his kid to work. His just so happened his profession is being a thief. So he's like, we need to teach little Jimmy how to be a thief. I didn't know he was just picking up random little kids and like, you know what? I got a little bank heist going down. Come here, little junior. No, I didn't know that. That's a whole different level there. You're just borrowing kids and taking them on capers with you. I didn't. Ooh, that is Florida. That's Florida man. That's
teaching them about grand theft auto and porch piracy.
He's just going around just toughening up kids all around the neighborhood. Then
it's his public service.
You know what? Wow, I did not realize. Apparently I'm going through. I'm listening to this, and I'm like, he's just taking his kid. Take his kid to work day. You would not, using that same scenario, if you're an engineer in Tesla, you don't go pick up a random kid and just take him to Tesla. I would have a problem with that too.
Stop by the local elementary school.
You can't be a GE employee and just randomly grab a kid and take them to work with you. There's problems there. This is why meth is bad, fentanyl is bad. All these drugs are bad. Don't do drugs because you end up taking somebody's kid to work, and if you're doing drugs, most likely you don't even have a cool job. You over there stealing. You're a porch bandit.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, the part that made me laugh was when he yelled, like you can he sounds like a cartoon villain, and then he runs away.
This story means it hits a little differently once I realized it wasn't his kid.
Yeah.
That hits really different. That it wasn't even it was. Man, I hope he knows those kids because that dude's going away. He's just randomly picking up kids like, hey, little softy over there, and little kids licking on ice cream. Like, come with me. You need to get tougher in life. No, I did not realize this dude is just randomly picking up kids.
Picking up kids, yep.
That's different. That is really different. You know what? There's this thing. I grew up in the Northeast, but my dad was from the South. And every year we'd spend the summer in the South. I spent a lot of time in that Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia area. And then later on, I spent time in Florida and Louisiana. What is it about the men in that area? They're so concerned about their kid being soft. I want him to be a man. I want him to toughen him up. I don't understand that, but that is a thing in the South that I never understood. And it's like, if I take him on the bank heist, that'll be enough to get him, toughen him up enough.
I grew up in Montana, and there's a similar mentality of, you want tough men, but it's more hunting, fishing, those sorts of things, not bank heists.
And what is pulling a bass out the water? A pound and a half bass, that's gonna toughen them up.
Well, if that's the case, then I should be a pretty okay man because my dad took me fishing and camping, and
that is a mentality though from those areas where it is important that their kid is toughened up. It makes no sense because none of these, like looking at this dude. We're going to forget about that wasn't his kid he was taking with him. What about, hey, I'm going to go steal some packages off the porch? That's going to, how is that going to make him tougher?
Right.
hey, we're gonna carjack a fool. How does that make you tougher? None of those things truly make you tougher. It just shows kind of a dumbass mentality a little bit, if anything.
And even if it does make you tougher, it doesn't make you a better person. Like you're not kind to animals and people, or I don't know, whatever your definition of becoming a better person is.
All that does, when you look at this dude and you're like, this is gonna make you tougher. No, it's just gonna teach your kid how to be a crook and a thief, so he ends up going to prison where he's gonna get beaten up anyway. So is that what's like? Eventually, it's a process. They're playing 3D chess. They're like 4 moves ahead. Well, we're gonna get him going down the wrong path, so he ends up in prison where he's gonna have to fight more, and then eventually he's gonna be tough, but he has no future. So it's gonna be over. I don't understand this whole mentality about making kids tougher.
I'm wondering, from little Jimmy's perspective, what his thoughts on the day were. Did he just think he was out on an adventure with his uncle / friend / random dude who picked him up?
Okay, if you're a little kid, a little 8-year-old, and you're going out and you're doing some bad things with your old neighbor, it is kind of cool. Like, he's like, wow, he went over there and just took the package. Or the kids know right or wrong.
He stole a car first, so he was probably giggling about took somebody's car.
I've been looking at that car across the street for a week, and now it's like I'm riding in this bad boy.
They stole a Hyundai, so it's not like it was anything terribly exciting.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to go into car thievery, don't steal Hyundais. Don't steal a Prius. Get you something you couldn't buy on your own.
And if you steal a Prius, make sure it has a charge.
You know what? That is nothing worse than that. You done stole a Prius that's low on battery juice. You can't even get away. That sounds horrible.
That sounds like the Florida man.
All right, we're going to end this on this one right here.
Okay, that's our PSA for the day. Don't steal a Prius with a dead battery. Oh, don't steal any car with a dead battery, but don't steal a Prius that's low on charge.
No, go ahead, y'all make sure it's fully charged. Y'all do y'all thing.
Thank you for tuning in to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. We very much appreciate you. Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow the podcast. Also, write us a positive review. That really does help us out, and we appreciate it so much. You can also follow the podcast on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, and Twitter. TikTok. I said X, then I said Twitter. Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok for more content and updates. In the meantime, we hope that you are having a wonderful rest of your day.
Or the man.
I don't want to go to work. Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't want to go to work.